Sleep paralysis is a phenomenon in which an individual, either during falling asleep or awakening, temporarily experiences an inability to move, speak, or react. It is a transitional state between wakefulness and sleep, characterized by an inability to move muscles. It is often accompanied by terrifying hallucinations to which one is unable to react due to paralysis, and physical experiences such as strong current running through the upper body and physical experiences. These hallucinations often involve a person or supernatural creature suffocating or terrifying the individual, accompanied by a feeling of pressure on one's chest and difficulty breathing. Another common hallucination type involves intruders, human or supernatural, entering one's room or lurking outside one's window, accompanied by a feeling of dread.
There was something at the end of my bed, watching me. It felt like I was being dragged towards them. I remember trying to scream, but no noise was coming out. I had to slowly fight to get control of my body. It was one of the scariest experiences of my life. Submitted by Alice. I've been having the same dream regularly since I was a child. I wake up and I'm in my bed. There is something in my house. I can hear the footsteps moving around, coming up the stairs, slowly. If I stay still, maybe the person won't come for me. I can hear him coming down the hall, and I can see his shadow. He's a minotaur. He has a knife. He's coming for me. I scream. I wake up, relieved, except there's someone at the bedroom door, and this time, I can't scream. Submitted by Ryan. I get sleep paralysis quite a lot, but you don't get used to it. It's just intense pressure holding you down. I can't speak. I can usually see the shadow of a dark figure out of the corner of my eye, but I can't turn my head to look at it. That's pretty terrifying. Luckily for me, my partner is now used to this, and we have a code. I start breathing really quickly and loudly, and if he notices, then he helps me snap out of it. Submitted by Jen. I couldn't move. My chest felt crushed. It was hard to breathe, and I could hear loud hammering. A few feet away, a robed figure sat on my chair and slowly moved towards me. As it got closer, a menacing skull appeared. The only thing I could move were my eyeballs. Submitted by Ting. It happens every time I fall asleep on my back. I wake up, and I can't tell if my eyes are open or shut, but I can see my whole room. Dark presence is lurking on top of my wardrobe, and as soon as I notice it, I try to scream, but I can't scream and I can't move. The darkness slithers down the side of my wardrobe, across the floor, and looms over the end of my bed. Then it creeps all over me, trying to invade every orifice. I feel an immense pressure, like it has pinned me down and is pushing its way into my ears, eyes, and mouth. The darkness then screams a terrible screech into my face, and I try to scream back, but eventually I manage to jerk my head and everything disappears. I'm alone in the darkness. It is the most terrifying of experiences. Submitted by Amber. I get it when I have too much sleep. The only time I was really freaked out was when I thought I could hear chatter in the background. Then I could feel someone lay next to me sleeping. The quilt just moving with each breath. I could feel the weight behind me in bed, snoring. I started to panic, as I knew no one was in the house. Eventually, I woke up and moved back slightly to feel no one there. It took me a while to get back off that night. Submitted by Vicky. I usually see someone come into my room with a crazed grin, staring at me. I try to scream, but I can't. They lean over and start suffocating me. It's a sense of overwhelming helplessness. The whole time, I'm just repeating to myself, wake up.
Wake up. Wake up.
Submitted by Marama. I get it every now and then, but I know how to deal with it now. The absolute worst was when I was staying in a hotel with my boyfriend at the time. I remember trying to scream and move, anything to get his attention, but nothing I did would make a sound. It was terrifying. Then I got up to tell him what happened, and he bolted upright and strangled me. And then I finally woke up, incredibly shaken, but glad it wasn't real. Honestly, one of the scariest situations in my life, and it wasn't even reality. Submitted by Richard. The first time it happened to me was when I went for a nap during the day. I was lying on my side, facing away from my door. When I woke up to the sound of my door closing, I tried to turn around to see who had come into my room, but I couldn't move. My eyes were wide with terror. I could see everything in my room. I heard this thing walk around my room. Then it sat on my bed, and I could feel the bed dip with its weight. It then shuffled toward me, and it felt like it began to spoon me. It was extremely tall. I was trying to move so hard, but I was just lying still. The thing started breathing on my neck and tickling my back. It then stood up and left after a few minutes. This was the most terrifying thing that has ever happened to me. Submitted by Holly. It usually feels like someone is sitting on my chest, choking me, and I see staring faces right above mine, laughing or screaming gibberish. Submitted by Naomi. I started experiencing sleep paralysis during the exam period of my first year at university, a very stressful time for me. The first time it happened, I woke up with the feeling I was being suffocated. My bed was literally swallowing me up. The more I panicked, and the faster my pulse and breathing became, the quicker I was disappearing into my bed. I couldn't move a muscle, and my attempts to scream were silent. After I calmed myself down, I kind of drifted out of my paralyzed state and woke up completely. The second time it happened, I woke to see a very tall man standing by my door, holding something behind his back and moving towards me very slowly. Once again, I couldn't move and I couldn't make a sound. It is definitely the most terrifying experience. Submitted by Sophie. Once, I fell asleep on the couch, watching some detective show. I woke up and sat up, and I was completely out of my body. I kept trying to lay down, back into my body, and wake myself up, but I stayed asleep. I stood up and looked out the back door. It was completely dark. Then, I went to the opposite side of the room and looked out the front window, and it was bright and sunny, and there was a little old lady sitting under a tree by the lake. I spent the next 10 minutes laying down, then sitting back up, trying to attach myself back to my body and shake myself awake. I thought if I didn't get back in, my body would die and my soul would wander. I didn't want to leave my living room. Submitted by Dope Audio. I see manifestations of horror in my bedroom at least once a week, from random people sitting on a chair at the bottom of my bed, to creepy old ladies, to swarms of flying ants or bats. The worst thing I saw was someone hanging right above my head. I couldn't move. I wanted to cry. I couldn't sleep in my room for a few days after that. The likelihood of it happening increases whether there's someone in my bed. Recently, some Tinder dude told me in the morning that I was like the fucking exorcist last night. Submitted by Anisha. My worst experience with sleep paralysis was after I'd been up all night doing an essay. When I finished, I immediately dozed off. The next thing I knew, I thought I had completely woken up, except there was a shadow, demon, looming over the end of my bed. It didn't have a face, but I could feel it staring at me, and it felt like pure evil. I tried with my whole body to scream, but nothing came out, which only made me panic more. I felt like the demon was about to attack me. Then his head twitched to the side, and he pounced on my chest, sort of thrashing at me. I felt like it was suffocating me. I tried to close my eyes again, put all my energy into trying to wake up and move my body, the whole time with the demon hallucination still attacking me. When I was finally fully awake, I lay in bed for about half an hour, shaking and next to tears. It was probably the scariest thing I've ever experienced. I thought it was just a really vivid nightmare until a few months later when I first read about sleep paralysis online. Submitted by Lola.